Hey, YouTube, beautiful beings. It's Juicy Jude. I'm kind of having a lazy day. It's raining here in Arizona. It's been, and as we all know, or people should know, it doesn't rain a whole lot here. So when it does, it's actually pretty exciting. And so I'm kind of having a lazy day and kind of just doing some cleaning. And recently was going to be moving, and now I'm kind of not sure that's what's happening. So I'm working on all my stuff to get straightened out again. But anyway, I was meditating yesterday, and I had a friend of mine who's passed over. He comes and visits quite often. He was an acupuncturist at my school. I have a school of massage in Central America, and he was a teacher there, and just one of my favorite beings in the whole planet, and still in all the realms. Um, anyway, I got the honor of being able to be with him at the end of his days, the end of his day. He left in my arms. It was the biggest honor that I had ever had. Um, and I just wanted to kind of speak on that a little bit because I was talking with his daughter last night, and doing a little bit of a healing with them, and whatever was coming through. And I just thought it felt really important for me to get this across, as far as what I've been doing this for a long time. I was kind of born this way. So I've been working with people when they leave their bodies. And that's what this video is about, to bring consciousness to what happens to this process and how we can better um, aid in the transition for these beings that have just lost their bodies. And it's, got to be a little freaky. Hi, I'm here one day, and then now all of a sudden I'm out of my body. But if you think of it as the way that the body is, it molds to the clay of whatever realm we're on. So if we're on the earth realm, it's very dense, and we have to have these physical bodies to carry our souls around, and just really diving into that a little bit, because the conventional way that people do um, this transition is through funerals. Obviously, we all know they have a preacher come in and say the words, and the loved ones, have to pay a lot of money for the casket, and then they pump their bodies full of formaldehyde, and basically charge a shitload of money for, and then everyone's sad, and it's just a horrible situation for people. So I want to go up, kind of dive into that, because I do eulogies. I do help people pass over. So I think that people need to be more educated on this, and I wanted to speak on it. Now, how it relates to anything here, like whether you're a narcissist or you're just a regular person or whatever it is, if it's similar to how when you can't fall asleep at night because you have something so pressing on your mind that you can't fall into that state of dreaming or sleeping. And it's kind of similar to the same thing that happens to a person when they leave their body. If they are stuck, there's a portal, okay, that opens up, and it is basically there's a portal, and there's always guides and angels of light around you, your tribe of light in the unseen world, and also loved ones who have passed over that may be doing that work. But there's definitely a portal, and they're ready to get you. But if someone's not ready to go and they refuse to leave and they stay stuck, it's what we call astral limbo kind of thing. So I was just wanting to speak on that because and a lot of the topics around it, because I have been doing this work with people that passed over for a very long time. Although with my friend that I was just speaking of, he we were in a different country, so I always deal with the spirit part of it, but I've never really dealt with the body before. So I was amazed, because the custom there, they leave the body um, out for like 4 days. for people to come and to, pay their respects, do their do their ceremonies, because people, believe it or not, most countries, and I'm going to get into this in a minute, are not as backwards as what we have going on here. So it's interesting because I was like, wow. I dressed him after this all happened and in his acupuncture clothes, which is what he wanted to be, next to his wife, and he on his land, and there he was, and he was fine for 4 days. There was nothing smelled, nothing was weird, everything was fine. And then it's like, wow. So it started me think, what is going on? Why do we do this? Why do we put poison in a dead vehicle that is no longer of use? Because as we know, this what makes the body operate. Obviously, it's a life force of some of prana and spirit that operates it. So without that, the body is no longer functionable on this plane, that life is over for this plane. So it goes on. Energy can't be destroyed. It only changes forms, and we know that, or we should know that, or if you don't, you do now. Anyway, so it's the personality survives what we call death, which I like to call transition. So I like to keep these words for sometimes it's easier just to say death because people understand it. But I would like to also suggest that we change those words, because the person is not gone. They're just, it's kind of the same reason one radio program doesn't interfere with another one. They're just on different wavelengths. And so you have to have a really fine vibration to be able to tap into that. Although there are a lot of people that do have that just don't realize it. And anyway, that's a whole nother show. But I just want to get really clear on what we can do when we have someone that leaves the planet from their body. The last thing we want to do is excessive grief, because that holds them down. The same thing that's going to pull them back into their body, into the realm with the body they do not have any longer. So if we can remember to just hold our grief off. I know it hurts and it sucks because this person that you love is, or whoever it is just gone and they're out of sight. Not to be able to touch them in the physical world and the dense world here. Although they have went on, and if we were to, as a collective, start to understand and overstand and understand that they have just lost their bodies and they're probably, a little bit freaked out. It depends on if they've been an older person that's sick for a long time, they probably came to peace with it that way. So they were ready to go. But if it's something like a sudden thing, like somebody gets shot or a car accident, something really sudden, sometimes that just freaks the being out. And if they don't catch that window to go through, they always can go through, but some people just stay stuck and they don't even know they're gone, or they do and they can't let go. So it's up to us in this world to help them get through the light, because the last thing we want for them is to stay stuck in hell, which is astral limbo pretty much. And that's where the narcissistic entities come through. And that's where they, I think I did this in another video. They call them alcohol spirits and these things, because they cling to these things because they don't have a body to satisfy their addictions any longer. So they kind of hang out around, and that's why you'll see people change forms when they drink or start to get weird and talk differently and things like that. And they call alcohol spirits. The point is, it can be in many forms of whatever. It can also not just have to be alcohol or drugs. It can be just an emotion or something they didn't take, something that just sticks so strongly that they can't move forward through the light. So they end up getting stuck, and it's our jobs to protect that and love our loved ones so much that we just put our grief off and get them through the light. Because once they get through the light, they remember everything about what they were here to do, their sole purpose, and then they can help a lot more and get on with their journey in the light, through the light. So I'm gonna give you some ways to do that, and I'm gonna also put a link. But you can also go to my website, thevisionexchange@gmail.com. I'm sorry, thevisionexchange.com. And my email is thevisionexchange@gmail.com. My website's thevisionexchange.com. And I have a blog on there on the ceremony. And I'll also work on linking it here when I'm through. I just want to say that after this happened in Central America, I just realized I'd never really dealt with that. So when I went back home, I started to research like a mad scientist every country, culture, death, burial rituals, all these things. So it was interesting because I didn't see anything at all that was like here, except for Egypt, which was really strange. In Egypt, I thought, for some reason, I just always thought, oh, they mummify, they preserve the bodies because they think that maybe the soul could get back into it. No, they actually take the brains out through the nose, and how would you be able to operate without a brain? So I tried to. So apparently they're superstitious, and they think that if they did that, that they could get through the gates. I don't. It doesn't make any sense really at all. For the work that I do and the spirits that I always communicated with, that's not even. That doesn't make any sense. So I have no idea why that happened. But they did have quite a few, like in the Buddhist culture, they do cremation because fire is cleansing, and it just, you know, it's just a good way to do it. Just because the body, it's like a suit. So basically, if you're pumping formaldehyde in a dead body and paying thousands of dollars to bury it in a casket and putting it in the earth, you're not only polluting the earth and spending a bunch of money in your time of grief, but you're also being unconscious because it's ridiculous. It's like burying an old suit of clothes and poison in it, soaking it in poison, and then putting a monument over it. It's actually quite ridiculous, and it's really hard for me to understand how we came this far in our time on the planet through the whole thing, evolution, to only get to still being this retarded with things. Sorry, but it's just insane to me. So my one of my sole purposes, if I ever, if it's be divine will and timing, that I would like to have a now I'm going to use a word, cemetery, which will not be the word. It's going to be enlighten up, and my thing is about I want to make it death and rebirth. So it's going to be like I had a home birth with my daughter, and I took my placenta and I planted a tree with it. And so I would like for people to be able to plant their placentas, so for birth. And then, when someone passes, they can take their pick of whether they want to have ashes to plant a tree with, or if they would like to have a burial, they can do a green burial with biodegradable going back into the earth, because the body is not, that's not them. They're not in that cemetery. They're not anywhere. They're somewhere else. They're in, and they still can check in. We can still, pray and talk to them. It's just that some people can do it better, just like some people can paint better. I happen to kind of come in with this gift thing, I guess, the gift. Let's call it a gift. So people are just born with some things. Although you can still paint even if you weren't born as a painter, or, like Prince, like Mozart, playing the guitar and being crazy and being able to just do so talented like that. It just came through. Some people have to work a little harder at it. So it's the same thing with this. It's just it's about not, the main thing I want to get across is that when they leave, they need our support to get through the light. So we don't want to have excessive grieving until we know that they're through, which is what the ceremony is about, which I'm going to tell you about. It's very, very beautiful. And I've never had anyone that didn't talk to me after and thank me for it. So, I mean, the ones that moved on. So what happened is I ended up having everyone call me every time someone would pass. And I was getting tired. I was like, I'm not going to have room for all these candles. So I had to start putting it out for people to be able to just take that, because it's more powerful coming from you to your loved one anyhow, and as many people that can join in. So that we'll get into that, but also I will be having, when I get a piece of really big land, I would like to have that so we have trees growing, no poison in the earth, and we're honoring. And then we'll have a little GPS where you can track your tree, and so we'll have everything's kind of recycling that way. And I feel like it's very important for you to get the information. No one likes to talk about these things, but it's very important to educate people on what you would like to have done. Like, what is your deal? Like, for me, I mean, do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? And all these things, and to also finish, to kind of get your affairs in order always for the journey, because we come, we go, we are all, there's many realms, and we're travelers, and this earth time is just a drop in the bucket. So it seems like everything to us now. It's not that way. So we need to start to think of these things and come, not because we're trying to bring our transition closer, but because we want to be clear. We don't want to be stuck. I mean, some people will be stuck because they didn't take care of these things, and they're going to be worried about things. So it's just good to kind of think of these things about how you would like to present things. I know I've had people that have left, and everyone, if they wanted to be cremated? Nobody knew. We didn't have any idea. So we had to kind of go with what we knew and be just be whatever we were within the moment with that. But so it's nice to have that clarity so we don't have to guess, and in this time anyway that's already hard. But I just want to say that most cultures they honor the being after they've left, and they leave the body out for days, and then let me share my favorite one with you. After the days, they in Tibet, they do the 4 days. I think it's 4, maybe it's 5. In Tibet, I can't remember, but it's 4 or 5 days. The body stays out. The people do their blessings, their prayers, and then the monks take them up to the top of the mountain and leave the body there for 3 days, I believe. And then the vultures, they eat it, and then the bones are what's left. And then they take the bones and they make musical instruments, their loved ones. They give the bones to whoever was the close person to them, and then they play drums and stuff. That's my favorite. I know it sounds crazy, but it's my favorite thing. That's what I would love, if somebody could just please take my bones and make music from me, because I'm a musical angel, and I would love that. It would be beautiful. So, I feel as though this needed to come out so that we can really start to raise the consciousness beyond what we see, or what our this crazy little old paradigm bullshit is that we do in this country, and many others probably, in many ways, like marriage, for one thing. Like, why do we want to do it through the government? Can't we just do a spirit marriage? I'd like to just get married because I love you, and I would like to make a commitment to you from what the agreements we are now having, and we can make our own decision on how that goes, and till death do us part. Well, that's even retarded to me, because it's like, death do us part. Like, I know I have a couple of people, I still, there ain't no death that's going to part us. I mean, whether there's a link of love or a link of hate, you will definitely have a meeting when you leave. But we want to, that's why it's very important you don't have to liking has to be earned. So you don't have to like someone, but you must try, you must wish them well, so that, you're clear in that part of it. If you hold on to resentment or things like that, then you'll definitely have to deal with it at some point. So, and then always the link of love, it's good. And, but the people who played our moms and our dads, or our sisters, or our brothers, or our daughters, or our sons on this planet, on this time, are just actors playing that role. Really, there is no family and spirit. Like we have there's a different whole order to it all. So basically just really trying to stay clear with where we are, and getting a bigger awareness so that we don't become, I feel that so many people just get so caught up in what's here, right now. Well, there's so much more that's going on that people don't use their brain. We only use, what is it, like a tiny percent of the neocortex alone, which is the personality, the secondary consciousness in the brain. To raise it up to the sona, which is the psychic brain, the sona, where you can really see, that's where you can see what's going on. You can, that feeling that comes in, you know what's going to happen. Well, that's there. And then we also have the brain in the very back. If we could get into there, we could be walking on water, but I don't think anybody's doing that yet. So that takes a lot of discipline and a lot of practice. So basically, I just wanted to kind of put that out there. And then also, well, there's many different practices. Most of them are, just way more conscious than what we are here with this way. And I think that the more we take all of these things, funerals, marriages, anything, just start to maybe pick it up a notch here, instead of being so super, like just doing things the way we thought that they always needed to be done without thinking. Like George Carlin would say, I do this really moron thing. It's called thinking for myself. So instead of just being a sheep and following along, oh, well, someone passed, now we're going to have to go pick out this expensive thing. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. So it's time for us to kind of wake up, folks. I mean, we really need to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to stop being so self-concerned and being so programmed by religion and money. Money's now the biggest thing. So we need to really just support one another in that avenue. And I will put the link. It's basically a ritual. You will do a ritual, and you can build an altar. Sometimes the big white, I'm just trying to figure out, why didn't I bring one in here? I'll show you right now. I'll find out right now. I'll find one right now because I have them. I just didn't bring it. But this is not really exactly what I wanted to show you, because it's a little bit more. Let me just find me a candle here. Sorry, guys. Just trying to get the. Well, I think I got this one. This is not what I want to show you exactly, because it's a little bit. This one's got writing on it, but this one is like they're the tall church candles, and they burn. They're called 7-day candles, but really what you want is just all white. I just got this one because it says St. Jude, and that's my name. So I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna get that. But anyway, that, because I use them for several different kinds of things. But if you just go to the dollar store, you can go to a lot of grocery stores. They have these candles in different colors, and white, if you get the white ones. So you take it and you write a letter, which I'm going to have in the link, but you can go to my website. Basically, whatever you believe in, spirit, mother, father, God, spirit, creation, however you term that, you just want to give a little bit of, like I'm just going to give you what I say. I just say, to spirit, like I ask here and now, and I give the full name of the person. I want to call on their higher soul, their guides and angels of their light, and all the ascended masters of light to come and to guide them through the light. And let's just make that clear. That's really a big deal. They get tricky on words in the other realms. Through, not into, through the light. And then, and just, whatever, just so be it. You have to put at the end, so be it, because it's like, so is speaking the word, be is sending it out. It is the manifestation. It's just something that they really respond with. And then after you do the spirit part of it from a higher place, you can write anything you want to them personally. So like I will write things and then I'll say, if it be divine will, I would really like it if, we could work together in this way. And then they'll, then you'll light the candle, and you can also put pictures and pictures. Sometimes I'll draw cards. I play music. I do a lot of energy. You can do it however. But the thing is, I want to reiterate is that I have never, all the years I've been doing these blessings, I've never had, they're encased in glass, so I've never had a candle be weird or do anything weird. It's just a good idea to put it somewhere that it's, if you have, animals or kids. So like if you have a fire, any kind of an altar or place up, or any special place that that it's going to be okay. The thing is, once you light it, you don't want it to go out. So you will see it will do different things. It will do different things. It will be like, sometimes it'll burn really fast and you'll see what they're doing. And then, you'll be able to connect with it if you're intuitive at all, or especially if you just lost a loved one, you'll want to be intuitive because it will be important to you to see how they're doing. So that's a big deal. And I think it's a good idea for people to start to realize this. When people leave their bodies, they are not gone. They are just on a journey back to their star, so to speak, or to another, place. So what we don't want is them to be stuck in. We want them to go through the light. So if we can put our selfishness aside of our grieving, and then after we know, these always work. I don't think I've ever really known of a time it didn't, unless I'm not knowing something. But even if you're even slightly guessing, you can do another one. But I've never really had to do that. They've always worked. I've been doing this for probably, oh gosh, let me give away my age. 20 years maybe. I don't know. So just to know that that's a thing. And again, I will leave the ceremony, but also just to really, I want to share really, before I'm going to wrap this up quickly here, but I just felt really like I needed to do this. It's an intense situation to not see anyone that you love. It's like someone moves to another country and they're gone and you don't see them for many, 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 many years. And let's take out that we have Skype and these things. So it's kind of like the same thing. It's just that they're on their journey, they're somewhere else, and that's it. And if the other thing I want to say is the way that they're doing the eulogies, also, we need to really upgrade that. My little brother, who I love very much, passed away, passed through the light about, I guess it was 4 years ago, maybe. I can't even remember now. It's like 4 years, I think. But he was freaked out because I had to get on a plane from another country and fly to the States. And when I did that, he was on the plane with me, and I could hear him, sis, he's trying to talk me, like he always did, trying to talk me into doing something. He's trying to talk me into getting him back in his body. I'd never had that one happen before, but it was like, wow, you got to go, honey. The cord's been severed and it's time. You have to, I don't even know how to do that, right? I don't know even, and you definitely don't have that much training. So you're going to have to go. And so I just kept talking to him. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then because I was like, oh my God. Because he was still hanging out, he wanted to get back into his body. He just knew there was a way. I'm like, no, there's no way. You got to go. And I called on my cousin who's there to come, and I said, you got to go through, honey. You have to go. There's going to be pretty colors. It's going to be different, but it's time to go. You got to go. So he actually did. And right after they cremated him, I could feel him. I was in the bathtub and I felt him. And then they had just called right after that and said that he had just been cremated. So I knew that he had let go. Um, but at his funeral, I actually kind of led a meditation, not a long one, just kind of got everybody. And this is a place that doesn't even really isn't that conscious, but I led a meditation just to kind of visualize that he had just left, the loved one there, just my brother just lost his body, but for anyone, obviously. And then, you know, I feel that it was a really good way to it's a good way to do eulogies need to change. We need to start to be more conscious about it. We don't want to have some preacher come and talking about our loved one who it would be a lot easier for us to do them. So I'm also going to be training people in how to do that in a meditation way and in a spirit way. That's beautiful. So anyway, I just wanted I'm blabbling, and also pets. I just lost my pet Buddha and my cat, and we did a beautiful blessing for him. You can do all kinds of creative things. For my grandmother, I did a beautiful. I on her letter card. I actually had that, and then I made an art thing for her to, you know, pass over. And sometimes I'll make because I do artwork, so I'll make art to basically kind of help them, like something that's beautiful for them to feel good. And like I just made this one. This is the pouring. This is the closest one I have. But I make a lot of different things, so you can always add whatever you want to, and have that you can put all kinds of, like I just did this dot work. So you can have all kinds of things that you can put. They're pictures of you together, the letters, all sorts of things. So let's just be conscious and raise it on up to realize that this is a thing that really is something worth looking into. And again, my website, the THE Vision, VISION Exchange, EXCHANGE.com. And I'm also available for spiritual coaching and readings, and just I'm here and we're just putting it out there. We've got to raise up from some of the energies from the people in beings that are stuck. It's kind of like a demonic spiritual war going on right now that people don't even realize. And we have it. I don't know if you remember what a lot of people say, oh, it happens in threes, the death thing. It's not that it happens in threes. It's just that there is a time frame with the astrological things and the different waves of things that go through on the planet, that it's just a window where when they're ready to go, they all just kind of go. So it's not that it's in threes. It's just that maybe there's only 3 that we know, but there's a whole shitload of them going. So let's just try to be more conscious about what's going on around us, and not being so I guess programmed. Just remember, breathe. And again, look at the juicy joints on my channel. I'm going to do some new ones. I know I keep promising it, but I've been traveling a little bit, so I have to do that, and I will. I promise. It's coming. But the ones that are on there now, and the posture, so important that we keep that erect and straight, and keep our spine straight, and keep moving through these experiences that are crazy sometimes down here, especially right now. There's a lot going on. So it's good to stay in your tribes of light and keep your intuition right, and make sure that you have your loved one fly through the light. And thank you, and I'll see you next time. Blessing.